All right, here we are, everybody, again with another edition of Hellfire's podcast.
You haven't changed since last week,
I know.
have you?
It's always like I'm wearing the same
It's
clothes.
mental.
These are the only warm clothes I have. We're going to
Same.
pretend that's what it is.
Exactly
right?
the same.
We're joined today by Jack Leonard. Jack, how are you?
Hello,
Very
Jack.
good, thank you. Hello.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, yeah.
This is the first time you guys have met, right?
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he opened the door, shook my hand, he was very polite.
Always.
That's a first. So, Jack, who are you? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I love the magic of podcasts and TV and film because if predominantly I was a stage actor, and if I was to regale this story again, people in the audience would have already heard it. But this is the magic of this world. So just cue me in one more time.
He's lost his train of thought.
I really have.
I tell you what we'll do, right? Why don't we start back? So, Jack, you and I met about, it's a long time ago now, 15, 16 years ago?
Yeah, but I think it's about 17
Was it really
years
that
ago.
long ago? Yeah. We met at Sandra Singer's acting school, right?
Yes, we did.
We did. We met there, and you were a tutor. You had been a pupil there as well.
Yeah.
Let's start back at the beginning when we first met. Go on.
Well, we met, I remember meeting you under the clock at Liverpool Street Station because we had an audition for the bill where we were playing
We
brothers.
did. Yeah,
way,
that's right.
really?
Yeah, genuinely, yeah.
Amazing.
And then you came into Sandra Singer's and you were a tutor as well. You're just a really cool dude.
Thanks, man.
And
I totally forgot about that, you know. I had totally forgot
it's
about
one of
that
my
with the
core
bill.
memories. I look back on that and that's defined me as a human because I didn't know where the clock was. I didn't know if we were on the first floor or on the ground floor. I was stressing out. I was absolutely like, this guy's a pro. What am I doing? This is like my second audition. What do I do? He said, meet me under the clock. Where's the clock? It's right up there.
Can I just share you a little secret there? That was my first ever audition.
Get out.
Yeah, it was my first ever one. So I pretended that I knew more than you, and in fact, you were the veteran.
Yeah, you said, no, you fooled me. I'd only done one audition before that. What a pair.
Did you get the role?
No, I got recalled.
Yeah.
And then the recall didn't go very well.
So do you know what? Here's the thing, right?
Did you get the role?
I got the recall as well.
Okay.
Right, okay. And then the recall didn't go as well as I'd had hoped. But I got recalled about 3 times for the bill. And they kept saying that we really want to cast him. We just haven't found the right role for him yet. And eventually they did offer me a role.
Right.
Right? And then, this was when the bill was on 5 days a week. Right? They offered me a role in the bill. And then the bill got all its funding slashed. It went from 5 days down to 1, and the storyline I was supposed to be filming got cut. I was devastated. I remember getting the calls about getting the part, and I was like, yes, it's my big break. It's the one, you know?
Especially as everyone says, everyone does the bill.
Everyone starts in the bill.
And I was like, well, I've missed that chapter of being an actor. I'm not even a real actor. I just turn up and pretend. I can't be an actor if I haven't done the bill.
I know. And I felt the same. And my role got cut. Devastated. Absolutely devastated.
But you were on set.
No, didn't even get on set.
Didn't even get on set?
Didn't even get on set. Got cut the week before.
Oh.
Yep, filming days were in, and then boom, cut the week before.
Mate.
I know.
That's a story.
I know, but
I
this
think
is not
this
about me,
is
it's
what
about
the
you,
podcast
so
should be
it's
about.
about
I want to invest in this.
No, this is cool. It's cool. I watched the film recently, and whoever the actress is, you know what my short-term memory is like. Whoever the actress was absolutely brilliant. I thought, what else has she been in? She's been in the bill 5 times as 5 different characters.
Yeah.
And what's the other one? What's the hospital one? Casualty.
Yep.
6 different characters in
Yeah.
that. What?
That's versatility
That is
right
mental. That is mental. They could have got you for that.
Right, I could have given me at least
taken one
one,
of them.
couldn't they? Yeah,
He's
I
got
could have
the
got
hair
one, you could have
as
got
well,
one,
yeah.
right?
Crazy.
Anyway, back to you.
Yes,
Back
okay.
to you. So after the bill audition,
After the bill audition, so basically, I sort of fell into acting because I was just being really lazy. I wanted to be a footballer and hurt my knee, and then just played video games. And so my mum and dad persuaded me to go to a theatre company or just like a Saturday school.
Yeah.
Hence Sandra Singer's. And there were just a couple of people there that I was sort of transfixed by. Like, I was always a really nervous kid. And I had a little bit of a stutter when trying to talk to young, attractive ladies. Probably still there, if I'm being completely honest. But I found this real freedom in being given a script, being given a person that I could be like, oh, this person doesn't have any of my insecurities. This is great. I sort of just fell in love with it. And I never really saw it as a career, because I was 16, 17 at the time. I was like, oh, wow, there are people that have done this all their lives. And then things just gradually kept happening, and it just became sort of a passion. It was like, no, my path is sort of leading me down this direction. And I've been very, very lucky. It's taken me all across the world. Like I remember I went to drama school, I went to Lambda, and had massive imposter syndrome there, because there was like, these guys are all geniuses and they can quote Shakespeare. And I literally my methodology at this time was like, I just say the words and try and imagine what I would be like in that situation. And so you're not using Laban technique, you're not using mice. And it's like, I have no idea who these people are. I'm really, really sorry.
But the ironic thing is, actually, you're using a Stanislavski method there, which is finding empathy with the character, which is, yeah.
I think that's what's so wonderful about acting and performing in general. Like, there's not a right path. However you get to a character is great, as long as you find it honestly, and you're not trying to project any sort of like, oh, this will be cool. Like you said, if you've got an empathy with the character, and it all comes down to that truthfulness. And I found that putting myself in that situation, how would I react, was great. And then as things develop, you sort of you're able to look through that looking glass and go, well, I've never been in that situation, and it helps me to understand different points of views. So I think it's a wonderful, wonderful thing to be able to explore characters that I would never come across in my everyday life. But then, yes, at Lambda, it was wonderful meeting all these beautiful people. And then it's like, okay, this is the job. This is what I'm going to do for my life now. And I remember getting an audition for a TV presenter. And I was like, it's not really acting, is it? And by this time, I'm a classically trained actor, darlings. I mean, I don't want to be a personality. I invest in the character. And
this is before you realise that any work is work, right?
Absolutely. Just working is the goal, isn't it? But I turned up at this audition, and I kid you not, I had the most fun. Like, I was just like, okay, can you do impressions? No, I can't. I was like, okay, cool. Just do your best one. I was like, I've got nothing. Right, what can I do? So I was a turtle stuck on its back. And everyone was just having a great time with it. It's like, that was great. Okay, what else can you do? I can turn invisible. And you know when you just say stuff and you go, you cannot. How do you do this? And here's where the magic of TV comes in. There's a camera. That's what people see. Well, I ask everyone to close their eyes for 3 seconds. I just lay on the floor, out of shot, and then I'm an ethereal voice wandering around the set. It's like, ooh, you can't see me anymore. And this is kids' TV, and it landed so well. And that was one of the first jobs out of drama school that I got, where I was so taken aback by how fun, because I hadn't done much filming before that, how fun filming was, and the collaborative nature of it, just having so many people around just to try and create this wonderful product that everyone can enjoy. Like, it's a wonderful form of escapism. And I just got to live out my childhood fantasies of being on Cartoon Network and having a laugh and joking around. And then cut to doing theatre plays with these wonderfully in-depth actors. It's like being sort of a chameleon, just going, okay, what methodology suits me here? Is it being really, really playful and well, I think being playful is always the great way to go in any acting. But when I'm in the theatre world, I try to be a little more cerebral and analyze the text and have my ideas going into the scene, whilst I will still have that in any sort of filmic way, but I will also be sort of, I don't know, much looser in my interpretation of the character. I've always found that the text is gospel, but interpretation is fluid. So depending on what someone else is saying to me is going to change the way I do my thing. And that happens in theatre and everything, but I think there's a lot more discussion in theatre before you get up on your feet. whilst film is very time sensitive, and unless you're working on a massive budget with a huge production, you don't have the amount of rehearsal time that you have with theatre. So those ideas have got to be bouncing off of each other very, very quickly, which is a wonderful, electrifying process. And I look at my life, and it's been 17 years in the making doing this, and I wouldn't change a thing. Like, sure, yeah, I'd love to be more successful. But
what is success? Because at the end of the day, success is measured by what?
That's a huge question. I remember having this conversation with another actor, like, what quantifies as success? And years ago, it would have been, being an award winner, being admired by peers. But now it's like, can I pay my bills? Doing what I'm doing, like, yeah, that's a huge success. Yeah. Like, if I told 17-year-old me, it's like, look, you're going to be able to survive as an actor, I would have gone, I don't want to survive, I want to thrive, man. What are you talking about, survive? It's like, no, but I'm able to actually be a jobbing actor, and that's a joy. Like, I never go to work not wanting to be there, and I can't imagine going to work and being in an office. And just be like, I wish I was doing something else, because I know a lot of people like that. And look, that's a different sort of life, and I applaud anyone that goes into it, because it's hard work, and you're going for that security, and that's amazing. But I don't know, I find my brain is always going, I want to be doing something, and this creating process is such a beautiful thing, and it's wonderfully scary, because there are days you rock up on set or into a rehearsal room, you go, I have no idea what I'm doing, and I'm just going to throw myself in at 100% and go, right, let's see what happens. So it's fun, and I look back at my life and go, I'm happy to be where I am, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the path ahead brings.
And see, you're not aware of this because you don't know Jack that well, but Jack very, very much undersells himself, because he's also a really, really amazing singer-songwriter.
Well, yeah.
Like, and obviously you're in a band as well, so that's sort of
we're gonna have to
same
talk music.
Industry, right? We're gonna have to talk about music for a little bit. You know what I mean? So, you want to hear some of Jack's stuff? It's absolutely incredible.
You're very lovely, Billy.
But what I mean by that is, like, what people don't realise is that actually, an actor with the ability to sing and to act and to play instruments as well is a really sought after commodity now. I recently saw a film by Jane Gold called Love Without Walls, and the main guy in that is he's a brilliant actor, but she found him on Instagram by watching him do gigs, like some of his songs and stuff online, and essentially turned up at his gig and said to him, I've written a feature film, would you like to be the lead character in it? Wow. I want you to read for it, opposite Shauna Swash, so Joe Swash's sister.
Okay.
Right? And because she'd already been cast, so he turned up, read for the part, they hit it off amazingly, and now he's got it. And his songs have actually been used in the film.
Oh, that's awesome.
Right. And there's one song, and I always say this is one song, right, which is called, it's called The Knowledge, right? And in it, he sings, he plays the guitar and the piano at the same time.
Wow. Amazing.
I mean, that's ridiculous. That's crazy talent right there.
Right. I mean, I'll show you the video, but for someone like yourself, it's just another string to your bow, isn't it? The fact that you can sing, you can songwrite, you can act as well. Can you dance?
I mean, no. I can throw shapes. I can't dance. I mean, I love dancing. It's great. But gosh, I remember auditions where I had to go into a dance call, and you just go, please, just let me survive. Like, the embarrassment, the world, you just want the ground to open up and eat you. But going back to music and singing, I think for me it was sort of just a form of expression and creating again. Because I didn't realize how much I enjoyed telling stories. And I just started writing for therapeutic reasons, just to get feelings out. And I only knew a few chords on the guitar, so I stuck them to that. I was like, oh, this is great fun. And I never intended to show anyone. It was just a project, a passion project for myself. And then I garnered this collection of 10, 15, 20 songs, and they just kept growing. I was like, well, I should do something with them. I don't want them just to live on my phone. And one day I met up with an amazing musician friend. He plays in the band Revenant Son. Just a ray of sunshine, this guy. And he's like, yeah, sure, Jack, I'll help you out, no worries. He's just one of the best people you'll ever meet. And he's the ultimate cheerleader. He's like, oh, you should gig. You should definitely gig, Jack. Just do one. If you don't like it, then you don't have to do it again, but just do one. I was like, all right, I'll do one. I'll do it with you, Jack, because that means if you get scared or anything, I'll be in the back and I'll just make a joke and it's no worries. I was like, all right, Ross, you're a superstar, an absolute stud. So we do this gig and I just love it. And it was like, oh, I'm sharing my stories with these people, and that whole thing of, oh, I'm getting to perform again, especially when work isn't actually doing everything you want to do. Like, being able to flex those muscles, those performance muscles, is just so wonderful. And it's become this really fantastic outlet for myself just to go, oh yeah, I'll sign up and I'll do the open mic. Oh, okay, you want me to headline? Amazing, fantastic. And it's not something I ever imagined would go anywhere, and now it's sort of taking a fair bit of focus because it's a really fun project.
Amazing.
Well, it's taking you around the world.
Yeah, it has. The singing, it took me to Japan. It took me on to cruise ships.
Nice.
I've been very, very lucky. Like these random strings that I attached to my bow, so to speak, sort of helped in so many ways. Like Japan, for instance, I went there expecting I'll be there for a year. Met a girl, fell in love, stayed there for 4, came back to the UK, then went straight onto a cruise ship. And this work was work I never anticipated. But again, coming back to that, work is work.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I never thought I'd see Japan. I never thought I'd go around Scandinavia and check out all the incredible cities in Sweden and Finland. And I'm so grateful for it. I'm so grateful for the opportunities that are bestowed upon me. But it's this sort of wonderful tapestry of life that's been created. And I look back and go, God, that was a great moment. And I sort of look at it and go, I still can't quite fathom it, because I go, well, like you said, Billy, I whether I undersell myself or there's just that little bit of imposter syndrome, I look at it and go, but I'm just me. Like, you sure you want? All right, yeah, I'd love to do it. Let's go. Let's have some fun. But there's probably someone amazing out there that you could get.
But do you know what, though? This is the thing with it. And we're going to go on to talk about the project that we're working on together at the moment, which is Memory Lane, which is a short film that we mentioned. We had first AD Dan Diath in the last episode. When I contacted you about Memory Lane, and this just shows the difference between a professional and someone who wants to be in the industry. I'd offered that part out to self-tapes to a few different people. And 2 of them, oh, yeah, okay, when does it need to be in by the self-tape? Oh, I don't know, I'm a bit busy at the moment and stuff. And these are people who have told me they want to be professional actors, right? I spoke to you about the project and you said to me, when do you need it by? And I was like, well, by the end of the week, I'll have it to you tomorrow. And not only did you get it to me the next day, but also you then said to me, is there any feedback you'd give me on it? And I gave you a bit of direction, and within an hour, I had a second self-tape where you'd taken on board all the direction I'd given you, and it was brilliant. And I sent your self-tape to the director, and I played you the voicemail that he sent me. I sent him the tape, and within the self-tape was a minute long. Within 90 seconds, the director, John, got back to me and went, oh, he's brilliant. Well, he's amazing. Tell him he's got a problem. Yeah, he's brilliant. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to meeting John and just give him a big hug for that.
But he didn't want to see anyone else because your self-tape was just so on point and you'd taken directions so well. He didn't want to see anyone else.
That's very kind of you to say.
But what that shows a real professionalism on your part.
Well, I think that's. I mean, partially, I've been doing this for 17 years, and work is like I want to work. I want to be involved in projects that across the board, whether they inspire me or is like, well, there's always the opportunity to grow. Whether I'm going to be working on something that, like, I've learned that you should never look down on any work, because if you're creating something, that's a wonderful thing to be a part of. Now, I've worked in theme parks, and I remember going there and going, oh, it's a theme park, and then meeting some of the most incredible people there, and it's so you learn to treat every opportunity with the utmost respect. And I was doing a play at the time, and when the self-tape came out, I was like, oh, cool. And I was a bit worried because I hadn't got any of my self-tape equipment. It's like, oh, okay, cool. Well, I've got a blank wall, and I can do the thing.
Blank wall and iPhones, all you need.
They're amazing. It makes everything wonderful. However, I do miss auditioning in person.
Yeah.
There's something to be said about going wherever you go up to town, getting to meet the casting director, because there's so much you can see on a self-tape. But I don't know, whenever I work with someone, like I want to know the person's a great person. Like because we're going to be working together, and I'm not saying that there are terrible people out there, but it's like,
I mean, there definitely are. I've known someone, there definitely are terrible people out there.
But I think getting a sense of who a person is comes across so much easier in person than on a self-tape. And I don't know, I feel like I have a childlike enthusiasm when I go to auditions at times, which can sometimes help sell a role and also go the other way. It's like, this guy's going to be a nightmare. He's so excited about everything. But I think that's helped me learn to embrace who I am as a person and just go, oh yeah, okay, cool. Well, if not now, I think when you meet someone in person, there's a lasting residue of that meeting where you go, they were really great, they were really lovely. Let's bring them in again and see if they're right for this part.
It's about building relationships, right?
Absolutely.
It is, yeah.
I think in this game, let's call it a game.
Yeah, but it's fun, right?
Networking is the most important thing. I think it is, and you've kind of changed my perception on that, because you know what Ben and me are like, we're kind of somebody to speak to someone, oh God. But I mean, even this week I worked on a job with someone that I was just like, oh, I don't know, and then I've got bags more work out of it, but actually I liked her as a person, and I was like, that was really cool. I had a fun day today at work again, and I'm going to get to work with her again, and Hellfire will do it as well. But it's networking, 100% biggest thing.
I think people have misconceptions about networking. They think that networking is going up to someone and saying, give me a job. And it's actually not about that at all. Like, to me, networking's always been making friends. That's
exactly.
all networking is.
That's the trick, isn't
right?
it? Looking at it and going, and again, just building relationships. Like, if you want to work with your friends, it makes work so much more fun. And building that network of people that you get on with is so fundamentally important. Like, I completely agree. I used to look at networking and thinking like, oh gosh, this is so uncomfortable. Like, they know I'm only talking to them because I want a job.
Do you know why my wife says exactly the same thing? She says exactly the same thing. But I always say, if you're going into it with that attitude, then you're never going to get work. Because everyone sees through that straight away. Like, if I walk into a room, I'm not interested in you giving me a job right now. I want to know what you do. I want to know about you. I want to know who you are and what drives you as a person to create stuff.
Because you're an awesome person, though.
No, but you know, thanks, I appreciate that. But we're all creatives, right? And I think that actually we can all support each other in that. And sometimes I feel like, look, the industry is cutthroat. That's just the nature of the beast. But actually, what I like is the fact that you can always learn from someone, and even people who are difficult to work with. And like, we've all worked with people who we find difficult to work with, but I've learned from some of the people that I find the most difficult to work with have actually taught me the most valuable lessons. Because it's really important to know that your practice is always still developing. And if you're finding someone difficult to work with, you need to question why. Is it something they're doing, or actually, is it something that I'm doing and that I need to do better? And I think that's always a really important part of the industry as well.
Well, what do they say? The most growth comes through being out of your comfort zone. No growth comes through comfort.
Yeah, exactly.
So, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah. So talk to us about the role in Memory Lane. Obviously, it's a different role for you. Your character could be seen as a love rat, I suppose is the right word for it, and a bit of an old school 1990s Darren Day terminology. Remember that he got classed as a love rat, didn't he? Darren Day, the love rat, was in all the papers. But actually, your character... There's multiple ways that this can be played.
I mean, I only recently found out that A Wrong Turn Down Memory Lane was a play.
When you met the guy who played your part, was that awkward?
No, not at all. Like, I was like, oh, like you say, you can learn so much from someone.
Yeah.
So I was chatting to him about the character. But I'd love to read the whole play just to see that overarch, to see what happens, where it goes, and what's different. But I find Cliff an interesting character, just for the fact that when I first read it, I definitely was like, oh, mate, come on. You know she's in a relationship. Don't do this. Come on, man, what's wrong with you? But then you take a step back from your own sort of personal values in life and you go, okay, how does Cliff see this situation? And I don't know, we've all had, maybe we haven't all, but there are moments in life where you meet someone and it can just be magic. And even if it's not a great relationship, like even if it's not brilliant for both parties, only one party is getting what they need out of it, to quote a toxic relationship, so to speak.
Yeah.
But these things exist, and there are people that are in them and they can't see it whilst they're in it because they are so blinded by love, infatuation, whatever you want to call it. And I think Cliff definitely falls into that place where he is ready to sacrifice a lot of things for this woman, wrongly or rightly. Whether he believes what he is doing is she's going to leave him and we'll be together, or whether he believes that, well, she is with him and that is a separate life. We can compartmentalize and I will be this part of her life. It's going to be an interesting development, and I look forward to speaking with John about how he sees the character, because in the text, I initially interpreted it as like, okay, well, he doesn't feel guilty about this, and he definitely is the love rat.
Yeah.
And then after the feedback that you gave, it was like, oh, cool. Yeah, no, that he is very aware of the situation they're in, and there are tinges of guilt, but that overriding feeling of, but I really like you, I really love you.
It's that desperation of love, isn't it?
That desperation. Yeah. And it's like, I know I'm doing something wrong, but I just don't want to stop. And I think that's a really interesting dynamic to play, especially when you have, I'm looking forward to working with my playing partners, and it's like, I wonder what they're going to bring to it. It's like, okay, well, you're the one in the crosshairs of this throuple, so to speak. That's very much not a throuple, not a consenting throuple, at least. So, like, what energy and dynamic does she bring to that, and how does that inform my decisions? I'm looking forward to the play that's going to take place and seeing where we develop and see where it goes.
And I know that John has big ambitions to turn it into a feature film, and obviously if that is the case, then Cliff will be far more prevalent as well within that. So I think it's going to be a real exciting journey.
I think so too, especially after hearing about what happens with him in the play. I was gobsmacked. I was actually shocked because I was just like,
don't give it away.
No, absolutely not. I was just like, wow, there's so much more that happens for this character than I initially read, and I love that, because I could have had this interpretation of this character, but now I've got this background text to work with. It's like, okay, I know, as the actor, I know his final destination. Like, that gives me an informed decision process to go, well, what are the steps? What do I take to get to that point? And like you said, I think you summed it up. There's a lot of desperation within Cliff.
Yeah. Do you think it's an innocent type of thing, though, or do you think it is more of a calculated desperation?
Oh, I love that. I initially want to say the romantic inside of Jack definitely wants to say it's innocent. And I really do want to believe it's innocent.
Me too, actually. I like the character,
Yeah.
even though it feels as though we shouldn't.
Absolutely. On first reads, when you see it, you go, well, I don't like you. But I don't know. I always think it's always more interesting if characters are likable, even if they're in an unlikable situation. And at the end of the day, whenever we're in a situation, we see it from our point of view. So I think from his point of view, it is innocent. Like, he's not trying to wreck anyone's lives, but he's trying to do what's best for his life and what he thinks is best for others around him. Now, there is fallout with some of the decisions that he makes and he gets into, but I don't ever think he has gone out to actively hurt another person. So I would say, yeah, for the time being, until I speak to John at least, innocent.
Andy, any questions from you at all?
No, I'm done.
You're
I'm
done.
good. It's so cold in here.
It's so cold.
I'm loving the fact that I
It's
keep seeing my breath.
freezing, yeah. Well, Jack, listen, thank you for joining us today on this freezing cold day. We
It's been
genuinely
my pleasure.
appreciate
Thank
it. We're talking about Memory Lane. If you do want to help us with the film, then there is a Greenlit page, so we will put a link out there as well. It is Scarlet Fish production in association with Hellfire, which is great, which is really cool. We love working together. Obviously, this is our third film working together now, isn't it? Yeah, so
cool.
we've got
Gonna be fun.
Ashland, War of Birds, and Memory Lane will be the third one. Yeah, so exciting times. So thank you for joining us, everybody, and we'll
Thank
see
you.
you all next episode.
See you later.